What is standing out?
Standing out is like being like no one else, like wearing something different.
Doing things you want to because you like them.
What is fitting in?
I guess like being everywhere else and like pop culture.
Like fitting in is almost a necessity and doing what everybody else is doing, because if you don't, then you'll get teased and stuff.
Which is more important to you? Fitting in or standing out?
Probably fitting in. It's like, I don't know, just like have to get like in the group. Like if you don't like fit in, don't have like as many friends, I guess.
So you want to fit in to the point where like you can cooperate with everybody, but you don't want to like be just following somebody and doing exactly what everybody else is doing.
I think standing out is more important because then you get recognized.
So, in math, there are many connections to fitting in and standing out. The line of fit is a good representation of both. We have a graph. The line splitting the data is called the line of fit. We have the x-axis, age, and on the y-axis, amount of girliness. To connect this to society, the line of fit can be related to society. It is the social norm. The points on and around the line are the people who fit in and those who stand out. The line of fit portrays a certain norm that all points want to be part of, just like society presents pressure to those around them. We can also connect this to literature, more specifically the book To Kill a Mockingbird. In 2 different passages, the main character, Scout, is pressured to be less and more girly. The first talks about her brother, Jem. He is telling her not to be girly. And in the second one, her aunt is telling her to be more girly. This relates to our graph because as girls get older, they are pressured to be more girly. Some girls conform, others don't, but they all feel the pressure of society pushing them to fit in.
There was nothing to look at from under the tree except Gatsby's enormous house, so I stared at it, like Canada's church steeple, for a half an hour. A brewer had built it early in the period craze a decade before, and there was a story that he'd agreed to pay 5 years' taxes on all the neighboring cottages if the owners would have their roofs thatched with straw. Perhaps the refusal took the heart out of his plan to found a family. He went into an immediate decline. His children sold his house with the black wreath still on the door. Americans, while occasionally willing to be serfs, have always been obstinate about being peasantry. Fitzgerald, 93. Okay, so this quote shows the measures that people will go to in order to stand out in society. So basically, Gatsby said that he'd pay like 5 years taxes to all his neighbors if they agreed to have like their roofs made out of straw. So he did this because he feels that in order for himself to stand out, he has to be like surrounded by conformity, and he wanted to be sure like he was superior to all of like his neighbors because he'd be like the only one with like a nice house and no one else like a nice like a normal roof. So he believes like that this one characteristic would set him apart from everybody else, and he'll get like more attention and there'll be more notice. So this like relates to like China and Rome, and how China had really nice silk and Rome like wanted this silk, and so they tried making it, but China didn't share like their secret about the Chinese silkworm and how you had to like smash the worm and like it's really gross. So anyway, we had to kill the worm somehow before like it hatched. So anyway, they kept that secret because they wanted to like remain superior to all the other countries, so that like they had the nicest silk. So it kind of relates to how Gatsby wanted to be like superior to all his neighbors because he wanted to have like the nice roof, and China wanted to keep their secret so that they were superior, that they had something like better than everybody else. So yeah, this shows how like both Gatsby and China wanted to stand out, and in order to stand out, they need something different than everybody else. So yeah.
An example of the advantages of fitting in society, found in history, comes from the ancient Greek culture. In ancient Athens, the government was an early form of democracy. There wasn't the democracy that we have today in the U.S. There was a group of government officials who got together periodically to vote on matters within Athens, and once a year they were allowed to anonymously vote on one person from the government to ostracize or kick out. These people who were ostracized had to leave Athens. They did this so that they could get rid of people that they considered annoying or radical, and this served as an incentive for government officials to not go against the majority while voting, because they knew that if they voiced an opinion that did not fit in, they would have to leave. This is another example of fitting in or standing out in society. Comes from another ancient Greek town called Sparta. In Sparta, military was the focus of everyday life, and boys in Sparta were trained from a very early age to become warriors. They went through very tough training, which included competitions between the other boys that they were training with. If one boy fell behind in his training, he would be shamed, but if he excelled, he would be praised highly. This also connects to biology and evolution, because if an animal, like for example, if an animal has traits that make them superior to other animals within their species, they will have a better chance of surviving than the others. For instance, rabbits, if there's a quick rabbit, it will have a lesser chance of being caught and eaten, and will be able to reproduce and pass down their traits. But if there's a slow rabbit, they'll be eaten, and no one wants to be eaten. The stakes are out higher in the animal kingdom, but society for humans is kind of the same way. If we fall behind, then we're looked down upon, but if we excel, then that's obviously really good. There's both advantages and disadvantages to standing out.
In chemistry, there is a single replacement reaction. So in this equation, we have sodium, which will end up reacting with zinc chloride. These are called our reactants. Now when they react, they will end up producing zinc and sodium chloride. These are our products. When connecting to real life, we can think of the following instance. Say we have Bob, who would represent sodium, and he has a friend named Joe, who is zinc. And Joe has a girlfriend, Tiffany, who would end up representing chlorine. Now Bob is jealous of Joe. He wants a girl so that he is able to fit in with society. Because in today's society, people view you differently if you are in a relationship. So Bob decides to jump over and fight Joe for Tiffany. In this chemical reaction, in order to see which element will win, you consult a list called the activity series, which will end up telling you which elements have the highest reactivity. This could be related to having strength, because the person with the most strength will end up winning the fight. So Bob fights with Joe. In the end, Bob is stronger and ends up winning. He kicks Joe out of his relationship with Tiffany. Joe is alone, and Bob is now with Tiffany.
so they are the products of this activity. In the end of our reaction, sodium ends up with a higher activity series, so it took the place of zinc in the reaction. A single replacement reaction can be related to the lengths people will go through in order to fit in with society.
In response to the focus question, I would say that fitting in and standing out are very important to the human condition. Our human instincts tell us that we need to make choices that will keep us safe and will help us within society. Like, for example, if I was an Athenian government official, I would probably make decisions that would keep me safe from ostracism and would show that I am considered normal in the eyes of society. But I don't think that society should affect us like that. They shouldn't tell us what's right and what's wrong, whether that means fitting in or standing out. I think that the decisions that we make, whether to fit in or stand out, should be our own because ultimately they affect us. The question shouldn't be about the human condition. It should be more personal than that. No one can make us fit in or stand out. We are who we are.
I feel that fitting in and standing out go hand in hand because you can't stand out if there's nothing to stand out against, and you can't fit in if everyone's different. So I feel myself in these situations as a sophomore when I'm playing soccer because I try to fit in soccer by working as a team and fitting in the sense that I need to include my whole team and work together with all my teammates because it can't just be me running around the field doing everything because I'll get tired out, and so I need everyone to work as a team to pass the ball and move around and make the runs so we can hopefully score. But I feel that I need to stand out while playing soccer because I need to play my specific position. And that's important because each position in soccer has a different role, and when everyone is doing the role individually, then we can work together as a team. We combined everything to play as one. So we combined everyone's specific individual talents to make one big one.
In response to the focus question on whether fitting in or standing out is more important, I believe that it depends. There are certain times when you need to choose which one would best work in a certain situation. Relating to my life as a sophomore, I think an example of a time when fitting in is necessary would be when driving. On the road, you need to follow the rules of the road and fit into what the other cars are doing. Otherwise, you may cause a crash. So I think that in that certain situation, it would be most beneficial to you and the other people around you if you fit in and stuck to whatever it is other people are doing. I feel that in school, you would want to stand out more than fit in. When doing an assignment in which there are multiple requirements, I would think that you would want to stand out more and add a little imagination so that you're able to catch the teacher's attention and more than likely get a better grade. So it would also help you by you wouldn't just be going through the motions, and I think that it would help you become a better person in the future. In conclusion, I feel that the importance of fitting in and standing out would depend on the circumstance you're referring to.
Okay, so referring to the question, how do you see these thematic ideas applying to your life in the situations you find yourself in as a sophomore? I think the honest truth is that almost every sophomore is focused on fitting in high school, especially coming from the junior high. It's just a new place, the high school is, and you want to fit in and you want to be accepted. And I mean, that's a human thing. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just part of like the human condition, and that goes for me too. But I think everybody knows that the important thing is to be yourself and stand out. But I think whether it's subconsciously or knowingly, people want to fit in. So the important thing, of course, is being yourself and not really caring what people think, as long as you're not being obnoxious. There's always it's like the balance. I'm saying the same thing as every last time, but it's like all about the balance. You have to know as a person whether it's right or wrong to either go, like, you don't want to go with the flow. If the flow is doing something that's right, then of course you want to go with it. But I mean, if people are doing things wrong, you want to stand away from the crowd and do what you think is morally right. So it comes down to being yourself, and whether being yourself at times is fitting in or at other times standing out. So yeah.